Welcome to this explainer on the side hustle reality. Listen, if you've spent more than, 5 minutes on social media lately, you've probably been completely bombarded with promises of easy money, passive income, and, overnight success. It can be incredibly frustrating, right? Well, today, we're stripping away all that hype to look at the cold, hard data behind what it actually takes to build a sustainable side hustle, and we're drawing from a variety of expert sources to do it. Okay, let's dive into this. Have you ever wondered why success looks so incredibly easy online? Well, it all comes down to survivorship bias. This is a statistical error where we concentrate on the people or the things that passed a selection process while completely overlooking those that didn't. It is, without a doubt, the ultimate optical illusion of the internet age, and it is heavily, heavily distorting our view of business. To truly wrap our heads around this, we actually need to look at a super fascinating piece of history from World War II. So, statistician Abraham Wold was analyzing returning bombers to decide exactly where to add armor to the fleet. Now, the military, they wanted to put armor where the returning planes had bullet holes. Makes sense, right? But Wald realized a fatal flaw here. They were only looking at the surviving planes. The planes that were shot in the engine or the cockpit, yeah, they never made it back to be counted. So, Wald's absolute genius insight was this. Don't armor where the returning planes were hit. Armor where the missing planes were hit. Looking only at successes gives you a deadly blind spot. And this brings us perfectly to the modern side hustle landscape, because what you see online are the millionaire TikTokers, the glamorous revenue screenshots, the ultimate survivors. But what you don't see, what financial author Nassim Taleb calls silent evidence, are the thousands of broke, failed attempts and the muted dropouts. The advice business on social media is effectively a monopoly run entirely by survivors, which completely skews our perception of reality. So, I have to ask you this really provocative question. Is this World War II statistical error actually bankrupting modern side hustlers? By only mimicking the highly visible survivors and ignoring the hidden foundational failures, are we just setting ourselves up for a crash? Let's look at the reality of why most side hustles actually crash and burn early on. Section 1, Surviving the First 90 Days. 90. That is the magic, terrifying number. Multiple surveys and data points reveal that the first 90 days represent the absolute highest risk period for dropping out of a side hustle. This is literally the valley of death, where the vast majority of beginners simply disappear from the landscape. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is exactly why people quit during those first 90 days. It usually boils down to 3 systemic failure patterns. First up, the unprofitable period. It often takes 1 to 3 months just to get steady orders as a freelancer, and people naturally quit during this non-revenue drought. Second is poor time allocation. Workloads fluctuate wildly if you don't have a set calendar block, leading to this cycle of basically getting nothing done. And third, loneliness. Working entirely alone without a community gives you a very narrow perspective, making it incredibly easy to just throw in the towel when things get tough. Beyond those 3 overarching patterns, there are specific warning signs that you are straying off the path. I mean, many beginners choose ideas just because they sound simple, not because they solve an actual problem for a buyer. They waste all this time building logos and polishing online stores before even validating customer demand. They say yes to absolutely everything, letting scoop creep completely erase their profit margins. And perhaps worst of all, they try premature scaling, like spending money on paid ads and marketing before their business model is actually repeatable. All this does is multiply the chaos. Section 2, High Ticket, High Risk. Now, you've probably seen the ads promising massive commissions for closing high-ticket deals right from your laptop. Well, let's clear up a major misconception here. Legitimate high-ticket sales have existed for decades. Think real estate, B2B software, financial advising. These products have genuine, standalone value. But what we so often see on social media is marketing-first high-ticket. This is the dark side. This is when you buy a $5,000 course that literally just teaches you how to sell that exact same coaching program to the next unsuspecting person. It's a total circular trap. And hey, even if you do land a legitimate closing gig, the risks are immense. Just read this quote from Kevin Yee. He's a successful closer who worked with major online personalities. He generated $18,000 in personal commissions in just 2 weeks. But then he says, I went from really stable to zero overnight. My client's high-ticket offer lost a lot of money and was shut down. Yeah, he lost his sole client, huge YouTuber Ali Abjal, in an instant because the underlying product wasn't actually profitable. If you put all your eggs in one client's basket, you have absolutely zero security. To actually survive in high-ticket sales as an independent contractor, you have to protect yourself. The answer is the hybrid solution, a base retainer plus a commission percentage. You simply cannot rely entirely on performance-only deals, where you take on all the risk for the business owner. Furthermore, experts strongly recommend having 3 to 6 months of savings before going full-time into this, just in case your one client goes belly up. Section 3. The digital product reality. And this brilliantly illustrates the harsh reality of that dream. An 87% failure rate for digital products. Only 13% actually succeed. You see, digital products create this illusion of easy money while actually demanding the rigorous discipline of a complex business. The idea that you just, upload a PDF and watch the cash roll in, yeah, that's a complete myth. So why is the failure rate so high? Well, it's because of the hidden complexities, the things the social media gurus conveniently forget to mention. You are facing infinite competition. Right now, there are over 47,000 Canva template sellers on Etsy alone. There are over 12,000 identical Instagram growth courses. You are competing against high technical infrastructure demands, and honestly, worst of all, you are competing against free alternatives available everywhere on YouTube and blogs. You aren't competing on information anymore. You literally have to compete on transformation. But here is the surprising twist. If you want to be in that successful 13%, you really need to rethink what you're selling, because boring actually sells. The data shows that highly practical, unsexy items like invoice templates, social media calendars, and meal planners, they consistently out-earn those glamorous courses. Why? Because they solve immediate, annoying, real-world problems. When it comes to digital products, practicality beats flashiness every single time. Section 4. Building a sustainable system. Let's move to and see how this builds. If the failure rates are so high across the board, how do we actually succeed? By following a highly disciplined 90-day roadmap. Days 1 to 30, you absolutely must validate the problem and create a minimum viable offer. Don't build a massive website, just talk to real prospects. Days 31 to 60, tighten your pricing, figure out how to deliver the product efficiently, and establish a very clear customer acquisition path. And days 61 to 90, improve repeatability. Make sure the system works smoothly before you even think about scaling up or, buying ads. You also have to track your progress like a real, actual business. Enter the beginner KPI dashboard. You cannot improve what you never define, right? Tracking these 4 numbers is absolutely non-negotiable. Track your leads. Are people actually interested? Track your conversion rate. Is your messaging working? Track your delivery time. Can you fulfill your promise efficiently? And crucially, track your gross margin. Are you actually making a profit? Please don't track vanity metrics like followers. Track the numbers that reveal actual business health. So the crucial point is that your ultimate defense against burnout isn't motivation. It's structure. These are your unsexy secret weapons. Do not quit your day job too early. Block out fixed, non-negotiable weekly hours for your side hustle on your calendar. Set up a physically separate work environment so you can actually focus. Use a separate business bank account by day 30 so you aren't masking bad performance by mixing your money. And before you start any project, run a 4-part filter. Do you have a specific buyer, an urgent problem, a way to reach them, and the ability to actually deliver? Wow, we've covered a lot of ground today, stripping away the survivorship bias to look at the real, raw mechanics of side hustles. I want to leave you with this one final lingering question. Is your side hustle built on social media hype or undeniable market evidence? Take a hard look at your systems, validate your ideas with real customers, and embrace the unsexy work that actually drives success. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and I challenge you to start applying this reality check to your own projects today. Catch you next time.